Yep, I'm reviewing my 2019 haul alongside the rest of 2018's, so you're not waiting for like a century with me doing 1 year at a time. And hot on the heels of Cybertronian Optimus is of course his arch-nemesis. Both this and the much more recent Siege Megatron turn into Cybertronian tanks. But whereas Siege Megs feels more, well, tank-like with a rotating turret, full-size treads and whatnot, Generation Cybertronian Megatron is literally a giant mobile cannon. The treads are much smaller, and there's no turret to speak of. They've basically gone the route of animated Cybertron mode Megatron. Take the fusion cannon, build a structure around it, add some vehicular features, and you're set. The treads can swing underneath to replicate his true alt mode from the game, a hover tank. It's probably why they're so small to begin with. In fact, I've watched several YouTube gameplays, and Megatron never actually sported treads or had an alternate transformation from what I saw. Feel free to correct me on that one. As for why they exist on this toy, is it so he displays better? Doubt it, since they don't peg into place. Or is it just so he looks like an actual vehicle? I guess we'll never know. What I do know is that the mold detailing is pretty intricate, including the tread tracks and the mechanics inside, obvious hand halves notwithstanding, various panel lining across the tank body, the thrusters at the back, though they're hollowed out. There's this piece similar to Armada Megatron's claw at the front. Is this a claw too, or does it generate electric shocks? And of course, the cannon. I mean, look at it, the sculpting's just phenomenal. It's your standard spring-loaded weapon. And since both the missile and the barrel interior are cast in translucent purple, shining a light creates a pulsating energy effect. Really, the cannon is what makes the alt mode. Which could also be seen as a negative, especially since it's a separate piece, and if you lose it, well, you may as well leave the figure in robot mode. On that note, say what you will about the mobile cannon, the robot mode is fantastic. Easily the toy's shining point. While he has 21 points of articulation versus Prime's 23, he makes good use of his joints. The swivels above the elbow enable him to aim his cannon overslung. His elbows and knees have a very good bend, over 90 degrees in fact, and his footprint is pretty damn big, all of which allows for some stable yet very dynamic poses. Going back to the cannon, again, it can plug onto either forearm, though Megatrons typically wield it on the right. The figure is very game accurate, everything from the stocky, beefy proportions, which befit a power-hungry tyrant anyways, to the chest design, his ability to gut you with his kneecaps, and the head sculpt, that's best described as G1 Megatron wearing Prime Megatron's helmet, sans the eyebrows. Also, like Prime before him, he sports a variant of his faction logo on his back, though it's still somewhat easy to miss if you don't know that it's there. Finally, the colour scheme is classic G1 Megatron grey, black, and red, now with dark energon purple highlights. As always, I wish the flat grey was silver instead, though the Takara version is cast in a darker metallic grey, so there's that. And speaking of redecos, the Rage Over Cybertron figure takes the Dark Energon motif to the next level. As is, like Prime's, it certainly isn't bad, but they could have done more with him. Overall, between Megatron and Prime, I actually don't know who I'd recommend more. Prime wins in alt mode with how solid it is, whereas Megatron kinda cheats with the cannon accessory. The transformation's impressively engineered, and the robot mode's slightly better articulated. However, Megatron's simpler conversion makes him a more fun figure to casually mess around with. His robot mode's rock solid and clean, whereas Prime has some kibble issues. And it's not like the mobile cannon is awful, it still looks cool in its own way. I guess, in the end, I moderately recommend both, just for different reasons. But we're not quite done with video game characters just yet.